Hey guys, so we are going to finish up our unit on understanding how graphs and visuals are used to help provide more information in our text. We have already done graphs and diagrams, and now we are going to hit timelines. The way this timeline is set up, you have to follow the lines to each part. So here it's 1885 and then 1902, but we have to be careful not to skip what happened between 1885 and 1902, and this was in the year 1900. So we're going to be very careful as we read through this. All right, so in 1885, Edwin Binney and C. Harold Smith create a company called Binney and Smith. They begin to develop products together. In 1900, slate school pencils are developed. In 1902, Stay-N-All, which is permanent and waterproof, marking crayons, and first dustless chalk is released. If you pay attention to the word of this, stay on all. It's permanent. It's going to stay on everything. In 1903, they created their first box of 8-count crayons, coming out with the following colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, brown, and black. The 8-count box of crayons cost 5 cents. In 1904, the company wins a gold medal at the St. Louis World Exposition. Now we're going to jump down to this second part. In 1920, the brand expands to include paints and sharpenable crayons. In 1936, the company works to create safe, non-toxic art supplies. 1948, teacher workshops begin to teach educators how to use the company's supplies. In 1949, a box of 48 Crayola crayons is first released. 1958, the box of 64 Crayola crayons is first released with a built-in sharpener. And then we're going to go down to the next set, the next row. 1964, the company begins making supplies for artists. 1978, the company celebrates its 75th anniversary. They also introduce markers to their line of products. In 1979, they now go by the name Crayola on all kids' products. In 1987, Crayola introduces washable markers and colored pencils. 1991, Crayola washable crayons debut. In 1993, Crayola's 90th birthday and the 96-count crayon box is released with 16 brand new colors. 1996, the 100 billionth crayon is made in Crayola's factory. Also, the Crayola Experience Visitor Center opens in Easton, Pennsylvania. In 2002, Crayola Twistables debut. Those are my favorite. And then in 2011, the National Inventors Hall of Fame recognizes Edwin Binney. All right, so pretty easy read, nothing too difficult to understand there. And now we're going to go to the form. But before we do that, there was one thing that I really want you to infer about. On 1936 here, this box right here, the company works to create safe, non-toxic art supplies. We're going to infer. Why do you think that Crayola felt that it was important to create non-toxic art supplies? Miss Lewis is asking the hard questions today. Who is the targeted audience for their product? Kids. What do kids like to do? Put things in their mouths. I have the problem with Lana. She likes to put things in her mouth. If they're toxic, they're poison. So if they make things that aren't poison and kids eat it, moms are happy. Kids are healthy. We're doing good. Okay. So that is why Crayola found it very important to figure out how to make their product in a non-toxic version. Now let's look at our responses. You should have already pulled this up. I'm going to go ahead and type my name in here. I would like for you to type as we go through this, or check your answers if you already did it. That's good too. All right, so why do you think Edwin Binney was recognized into the National Inventors Hall of Fame? I believe that Edwin Binney was recognized. Do you see how I'm restating this question? Oh, it's so beautiful. I believe that Edwin Binney was recognized into the National Inventors Hall of Fame because he created a company that we'll say produces because technically Crayola still produces this product. So I believe that Edwin Binney was recognized into the National Inventors Hall of Fame because he created a company that produces a product for children that was not available before. Done. All right, how many years did it take for the company to move from creating 8-count boxes of crayons to the 96 count? So this is where I'm got to go back to the passage because I have no idea what years those were. So let's go back. So the first 8-count came out in 1903. So I'm going to do this on my board here. And you get a sheet of paper, and I want you to do this too. So 8-count, 1903. And then the 96 count did not come out until 1993. That's pretty easy mental math. I don't even have to work that one out. So we're going from 1903 to 1993. So how many years was that? 90 years, almost 100 years after they created their first box of crayons, they created the largest box of crayons that they still sell. So let's begin with our restating. It took the company 90 years to create the 96 count box of crayons. And then we could add according to the text, because we love to throw some of that text evidence in there. According to the text, 8-count boxes came out in 1903 and the 96 count box came out in 1993. All right, let's move to the next one. Explain how this timeline is organized and how it helps you better understand the text. Well, a timeline is always going to be ordered sequentially. So this timeline is ordered in ordered based on the sequence of events of the Crayola company. It helps me understand the text because I was able to see the order in which things occurred. Sorry. All right. Pretty easy questions, basically the same questions we've been answering over and over and over again, just with different passages and different style visuals, okay? So what kinds of products has Crayola introduced? So once again, I'm going to go back to my board and I'm going to list these out. So if you have a sheet of notebook paper, listing these are going to be helpful before you answer the question to make sure you don't miss any. So let's go back to our passage here. So Crayola created, I'm not sure if they invented slate school pencils because it doesn't specify. Because it's on the timeline and it says the history of Crayola, we're going to assume that they developed these. And we can do some more research to see if Crayola actually did develop them. So we have slate pencils. We have permanent crayons. And I'm going to keep listing these out, and I want you to do the same thing as well. I'm going to pause the video so you can have a moment to do that, and click pause on your video as well. All right, guys, so I am picking back up where we left off. So we had gotten to slate pencils. They also created permanent crayons, dustless chalk, 8-count crayons, paint, sharpenable crayons, non-toxic art supplies, 48-count box of crayons, 64-count box of crayons, supplies for artists, markers, washable markers, colored pencils, 96-count box, and Twistables crayons. And I pulled those straight from that timeline, straight in order, and that made it easy for me to create my list. So here, Crayola has introduced slate pencils, and we're just going to retype what we had. Permanent crayons, dustless chalk, 8-count. I'm going to write CT for count. 8-count crayons. We have 48-count, 64-count, and 96-count crayons. Paint, sharpenable crayons, non-toxic art supplies, supplies for artists, markers, including washable, colored pencils, and twistables. It. Okay, and then last it says inferring what might be at the Crayola Experience Visitor Centers. Well, we know that Crayola makes art supplies, so I infer that there is a variety of art supplies available for tourists to see when visiting the center. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. If you have any questions, contact me.